Evelyn stared at the laptop screen, the flickering light illuminating the sharp lines of her face. "Some houses don't just hold memories," she murmured, more to herself than to her boss. "They hold secrets. They breathe. They wait. And when you step inside, you might just find that the silence is the loudest scream of all." Mr. Henderson, her boss, a successful property magnate, leaned back in his chair, a confident smile on his face. He was used to people being intimidated by Blackwood Manor, but not by him. "Don't worry, Evelyn," he said, his voice booming with forced joviality. "It's just an old house. A bit of a fixer-upper, really. Nothing a little money and elbow grease can't fix. Plus, it comes with a hefty insurance payout for the renovations. Say, $20 million. Enough to make you a star architect. A household name." He clicked through the photos on the screen, each one carefully selected to show only the grand facade of the manor, and never the crumbling interiors. But Evelyn could see past the veneer. In a grainy, distant shot, she saw the truth. An imposing, dark, and ivy-covered structure. It looked like a hungry mouth, ready to swallow anyone who dared to enter. Days later, suitcases in hand, Evelyn stood before the imposing gates of Blackwood Manor. They were locked, and the rusted bars were secured with chains. Sighing, she climbed over them, her city clothes already dusted by the fine dirt of neglect. The vast entryway was cold and silent, the air heavy with the scent of decay. Placing her suitcase down, she walked towards the towering grandfather clock in the hall. Its hands were frozen at precisely 3:07. That's when a sudden, faint whisper seemed to echo from the upper floors. Shaking off the inexplicable chill, Evelyn told herself it was the wind. In the days that followed, Evelyn set up a temporary workspace in what was once a drum. Sunlight struggled to filter through the grime-coated windows, painting dust motes in the stagnant air. While exploring the manor, she found a hidden study tucked away behind a collapsing bookshelf. Inside, she discovered a thick, leather-bound journal. Its pages, brittle with age, were filled with elegant script. Evelyn learned that it belonged to Lillian Blackwood, a former resident of the manor from the late 1800s. The journal revealed Lillian's loneliness and despair as she poured out her soul onto the pages. But it was the strange noises that fascinated Evelyn. Lillian spoke of hearing whispers and footsteps in the dead of night. She felt watched, her every move anticipated. The entries grew more frantic as she neared the end. She wrote about a spectral figure, a man in the shadows, who spoke to her in the darkness. He was always there, just beyond her sight, a looming presence that chilled her to the bone. Driven by curiosity, Evelyn retraced Lillian's steps, exploring every nook and cranny of the house. One day she came across a master bedroom, shrouded in white sheets and draped in cobwebs. In the corner stood a child's rocking horse. Still, just as she was about to leave, the horse began to rock gently, her heart pounding. Evelyn froze. Dismissing it as a trick of the light or perhaps a draft, she continued her work, determined to uncover the secrets of Blackwood Manor. In the attic, she found more of Lillian's belongings, including a small, leather-bound diary. It was filled with childish drawings and writings. The diary belonged to Lillian's daughter, Elizabeth Blackwood. Elizabeth's entries were filled with innocent joy, but they took a dark turn as she grew older. She wrote about her mother, who had become increasingly withdrawn and strange. Then the unthinkable happened. Elizabeth wrote about how her mother had seen something terrible, something that made her cry and scream. And then there was the man in the shadows. He was watching them, waiting for Elizabeth. Her mother was protecting her, keeping him away, but he would be back. As Evelyn read Elizabeth's last words, the temperature in the attic plummeted. The hair on her arms stood on end, and out of the corner of her eye, she saw a spectral, shadowy figure take form in the gloom. The man in the shadows had been watching her. It wasn't her he wanted, though. With a start, Evelyn realized he was reaching for her, not to harm her, but to go through her. Suddenly, she was overwhelmed by a rush of images. She saw Lillian, driven by the oppressive atmosphere of the manor, accidentally causing her daughter's death, perhaps sealing her in the secret room while under the influence of the man in the shadows, a malevolent entity feeding on her despair. The entity was never a man, but a manifestation of Lillian's own tormented mind and the manor's oppressive atmosphere, which then latched on to Elizabeth's fear. Breathless and shaken, Evelyn stumbled out of the attic. The manor was silent, but she could feel the spirits of Lillian and Elizabeth watching her, their tragedy a heavy weight on the house's soul. Then the grandfather clock chimed 3:07, a mournful cry from the past. A final sob echoed from upstairs. Evelyn fled, leaving the secrets of Blackwood Manor to its echoing halls. Blackwood Manor is a haunting reminder that some mysteries are best left undisturbed. For in the darkest corners of a house, grief and madness can intertwine, and the spirits of the tormented can linger, seeking solace, or maybe just someone to understand their pain.